right here in the USA. Get your Super Male Vitality right now at InfoWarsLife.com or call 1-888-253-3139.
General, what do you think about the FBI saying that there's a terror alert on Monday about a potential Fort Hood situation?
The police are shoving people, shoving Alex, shoving the crowd.
Here we go, folks. I'm being assaulted.
Whether it's the radio show, the news websites, documentary films, or the nightly news, InfoWars is the tip of the spear.
Is this another false flag stage attack to take our civil liberties and put more homeland security while sticking their hands down on the pants on the streets?
It's up to us to set brush fires in the minds of men and women everywhere. And that's what PrisonPlanet.tv is designed to do.
You watch, the Assad regime is going to be blamed or accused of using chemical weapons against the so-called rebels.
What we see now is a war against reality. It's a war against the truth.
It's more vital than ever that supporters of freedom become members of PrisonPlanet.tv and share their membership with up to 11 friends and family. Visit InfoWarsNews.com today. Become a member, share your membership, and help take the InfoWar to the next level.
Hi, I'm Dr. Edward Group. It took me 20 years of searching the globe to find the deposit of the highest purity iodine available. The new Survival Shield X2 is mined from 7,000 to 10,000 feet below the earth in pristine, environmentally clean conditions. The iodine crystals we use are extracted from an ancient 300 million plus year old deposit deep in the earth. It's the strongest nascent iodine on the market today. It delivers 650 micrograms per drop. Experience the new formula. Experience the ancient purity. Shield your family. Survival Shield X2. Available now at InfoWarsLife.com.
X2 from InfoWarsLife.com or call toll-free 888-253-3139.
Coast to coast, direct from Austin. You're listening to the Alex Jones Broadcasting Network.
Crashing through the lies and disinformation. It's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network.
Welcome back to the Alex Jones Show. I'm David Knight, and this is our last segment. We're taking your calls on immigration, on the end game of the globalists, as we've been talking about how they are bringing in a huge number of children by themselves to be raised in America. It's not only a collapsing of the economy economically, but it's a balkanization of the country as well. Many different disturbing aspects of it, but of course, they've already had their own economies eviscerated by the bankers whose next step is not necessarily to threaten your job using immigrants from Mexico. It's not the Mexicans you need to worry about. It's the metal cans that are going to replace all of us. We just had a robotics fair in Munich. This is an article from the London Financial Times that Drudge picked up last week, where they're talking about the dawn of a robot revolution as an army of machines escapes the factory. Now, of course, they talk about it as being beyond defense. The biggest non-industrial markets for robots are agriculture and healthcare. Now, of course, what they mean is, in other words, the military is the #1 market for these robots, not really even the factories. But for the first time this year, one of the aspects of this article is that they had an entire section about service robots. You see, it's not just manufacturing that's going away. You're going to lose the service economy as well when these robots start driving trucks instead of truck drivers. Listen to some of the other ones that they've got here. They've got a Carabot that sweeps office floors and empties waste paper bins. You've got another one from Stockbot, which walks the aisles in a shop or a warehouse to check inventory at night. Or you've got autonomous vehicles ferrying laundry or waste around hospitals. And of course, they're going to be ferrying everything on the roads as they replace truck drivers, as I just mentioned, with self-driving trucks. The service economy is going to go away, just as we've seen the manufacturing economy melt away. We have Chris in Indiana who wanted to talk about robots. Chris, what did you want to say about robots?
Hi, David.
Hi. Go ahead. What did you want to say about robots?
There's a couple things. There's one, I'm a whistleblower in a way when it comes to my profession, but first of all, I wanted to say that all of this has to do with that movie Elysium, which desensitizes us to and conditions us to accept socialist health care, open borders, brain chips, robot workers, communist government coups, and so forth.
Yes.
And, yeah, exactly. And I work in the healthcare system as a medical technologist, cytotechnologist, if you want to be technical about it, and I screen a lot of slides that need analysis, and I can understand what is abnormal and normal. And now the papillomavirus smear, the pap smear, is under a microscope taken. It's a slide sample is being taken, and we analyze them. And now the FDA is moving towards just pure HPV testing that is by a robot, even though that the numbers, it used to be one of the biggest causes of women's death in this country up until 1955. And since 1955 until 1992, those are the stats I looked up, it declined by 60%. And I think that has a lot to do with Obamacare. I mean,
what is it? What used to be the biggest cause of death in women? What was it that you said had declined?
Cervical cancer.
Oh, cervical cancer, okay.
Worldwide, it actually remains to be one of the highest causes of women's death. But in the U.S., it used to be about second or third, and now it's 14th.
Okay.
Since 1955. And it's all due to that screening of papillomavirus testing, and they're all going to robots. It hasn't even become clear yet. You look up that FDA approves Roche screening, Roche robot screening. The company's Roche. And it's ROCHE.
Yeah, they're moving into all different areas, as they were pointing out. They had a lot of things in this this robotics fair in Munich that were focused on healthcare. Thank you so much, Chris in Indiana. It's been pretty heavy news today, and so I guess maybe one of the ways that we can push back against this is kind of by satirizing it. Robots are not only concentrating wealth in the hands of a technocratic elite, but they're also going to give a monopoly of force to a few people. That's one of the things that really concerns us. As I mentioned before, again, the biggest market is for the military. When DARPA is looking at these robots, they like to sell them to the public as saying, they're going to help you in a disaster, if it's an earthquake or if it's a nuclear reactor that came apart. That's not the brief of DARPA. DARPA is a defense research agency. They're looking for military uses of these robots. So when you see these things running faster than humans, when you see them walking around, running on 2 legs or running on 4 legs like faster than a Jaguar, that's what they're looking. They're looking at robots that are going to take people on, that are going to be used for crowd control, or going to be used to hunt people down. But there's a funny article on The Onion about the police use of robots, just as the last caller was talking about Elysium and how they showed the police brutalizing people. I had high hopes for that movie, but it turned out, as he pointed out, just to be predictive programming, trying to get people to accept some of the things. Just putting forward this whole immigration, Obamacare issue, it really wasn't pushing back against the out-of-control use of robotics in the police, but this Onion article does. And this is titled, New Law Enforcement Robot Can Wield Excessive Force of 5 Human Officers. And in this phony article, the satire, they say, the Houston Police Department has developed a new line of law enforcement robots capable of wielding the excessive force of 5 human officers. And they quote an engineer who says, we've done extensive testing with the AP-12, and we can say these units are capable of carrying out everyday police work just as proficiently as any member of our force. Whether it's dispersing peaceful protesters by blasting a 14-nozzle pepper spray cannon, or reacting to reports of suspicious behavior by immediately striking the knees, face, and throat of a potential suspect up to 10 times harder than its human counterpart. Thanks to these robotic units, our deputies can rest assured that their work will be performed to the same standards we have always expected from our patrolmen. And they say they've outfitted them with numerous features that make it ideal to abruptly resort to extreme measures, including a highly sensitive motion detector that perceives most gestures as an act of resistance, necessitating physical force. And additionally, the robots possess a powerful hydraulic grasping system, enabling them to repeatedly slam subjects of any size and weight against fences, dumpsters, and car hoods with previously unattainable levels of aggression. That's from The Onion, making fun of our police who have been using new rules of engagement and excessive force. And, of course, you could always replace them with robots who will do a much more efficient job. We're nearly out of time, but let's go to one more call here. Daniel in Austin, you wanted to talk about immigration. Go ahead, Daniel. We don't have Daniel there. Let's go to Andrew, and Andrew in Pennsylvania. Did you want to talk about depopulation and colonizing space?
Yeah, getting back to what Alex said about that, it has been said by some globalist researchers that at least half of the globalist forces, the globalist factions, do not want to depopulate the Earth. They actually want to microchip the entire Earth, like Aaron Russo talked about, so they can take away the free will of humanity to make us act in malevolent ways. So as part of their colonizing space agenda, they can turn humanity into a cosmic war machine. And yes, the Star Wars Galactic Empire is disclosure in your face about this.
Well, it's interesting. Yeah, a lot of people have debated whether they want to actually replace humans with robots or whether they want to essentially turn us into robots with mind control. There's been a lot of research from DARPA in both areas. So the thing that concerns me as an engineer is as I look at this technology, as Alex had pointed out, they always put backdoors into everything. They give us technology with useful hooks in it, things that we can use in our life that we see all the time in our smartphones, and yet at the same time they took it in, they turn it into a tracking device, they turn it into a listening device in terms of espionage, and so they have multiple agendas for all these things. That's what really concerns me. Technology is like any other tool. It can be used for good or it can be used for evil, and yet increasingly we see the military-industrial complex and the research departments, as Eisenhower warned us in his famous military-industrial complex speech. He warned us not only about the military-industrial complex, but about the research that was going to be driving that, saying that our government, with its grants and research funding, would essentially take over research and turn it into things that are always focused on the darkest, most evil side. That's the thing that really concerns me. Let's go to Greg in Bakersville. Greg?
I'm in Copenhagen. Hey, thanks a lot.
Sure, go ahead.
Hey, you know the Act of 1871?
No, go ahead. Tell us about it.
Oh, well, let me just kind of, we don't have enough time.
Okay. Well, just summarize it quickly for the audience.
Yeah, you know what? If you really want, if you want to read the whole document, this guy Tattooed 1009 has it. Yeah, 1009.com has it on his channel. I think it's like 24 pages or something like that.
All right.
And
you're right. We're getting
what happened. You know, after the Civil War, we were hurting for money. So,
sorry, Greg, we're out of time. People go take a look at that link. Now, tomorrow, Alex is going to be back with Dinesh D'Souza, 11 Central. Join us then. Sorry, Greg.
A chemical spill contaminating the water supply in 9 West Virginia counties.
This year alone, over 300,000 people in West Virginia had their drinking water contaminated.
What are the health effects of having these drugs in our drinking water?
It's forced medical treatment without the consent of residents.
My friends, water filtration is one of the most basic actions you can take to protect you and your family from the harmful toxins and heavy metals